He's not here anymore. Here we go, guys. I'd like to call the city council meeting of September 7th, 2023, 501 Main Street at 5:30 PM. Call to order. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a roll call?
Crenshaw,
Here.
Walker,
here.
Garcia,
Here.
Oltmans,
Here.
Ellenthal, Andrews,
Here.
Tillman,
Here.
Bryant,
Here.
Greenwald,
Here.
8 present, 1 absent.
Item number 4, mayor's correspondence. Tomorrow, Friday, September 8th, the Oscar Mayer Frank Mobile will be at Hy-Vee from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So might be something different to see in Keokuk, Iowa. Saturday, September 9th, 2023, Reese Across America will be at the Southside Boat Club starting at noon with the bags tournament and an auction starting at 5 p.m. It's a great cause. Time to support Reese Across America. They do a lot for the National Cemetery. Item number 2 is third annual Stacy Kincaid Ride, and it starts at L Trains at 9:30. Item number 3, the Rodeo Parade in Fort Madison at 9:30 a.m. And item number 4, auditions for the Headless Horseman program that will be put on by the Great River Players is Saturday and Sunday. There's still time to take out your papers if you want to run for mayor and the city council. There are 6 seats open on the council, and the mayor seat is up for grabs. Papers must be turned in by September 21st, 2023, with the election on November 7th, 2023. If you haven't already heard, a representative from Insight Corporation that has purchased Keokuk Area Hospital was here over the weekend and answered a lot of questions about the soon-to-come REH, which is a rural emergency hospital. They plan to open early in 2024 as an emergency room from the start. The name will be Insight Keokuk Area Hospital, or IKAH. It was a very positive and informative weekend. Keep your prayers coming and your fingers crossed. 2024 is just around the corner. There's like to put out a lot of thanks to all who made the Labor Day parade such a success, all the planners, workers, and entries to make this such a great day for the city of Keokuk. Thanks to the Keokuk Labor Temple and its officers and volunteers for another successful Labor Day. And remember to eat, drink, and shop local. Keokuk is a great place to live and work, and please be the good. Item number 5 is citizens' request, and what we are going to do here is if you're here to discuss the hotel motel tax on item number 9 with Man Country. If you're here to discuss that, we're going to do that at item number 9 instead of during citizens' request. So if you do have something, 5 minutes is the most we hope you'll spend, and try not to repeat yourself if there's more than 1 or 2 representatives. So you need to come to the podium, state your name, your address, and then what you're here for. So if I have any citizens' requests besides the Man Country, please come forward.
William Blanchard. I'm here about address 407 Timea. My son bought it a few years back at tax auction, and long story short, he doesn't wish to have anything else to do with the property. So we were trying to figure out a way to either relinquish it back or something else. And we were actually told that if you just quit paying taxes on it, it'd just go back to tax auction. That's what my son, my wife, and myself was told. And now they're wanting to fine him like $6,500. We actually have court on the 12th. for not getting a vacant property permit. Well, there's no way to get insurance on the property with it being vacant. And the city won't give the permit unless you have insurance on it. So the city really didn't allow for a avenue there for us to get that permit. So that's what I'm here about. I was just wondering if there's a way we could surrender the property or quit claim deed it. We have talked to a couple of different realtors. They're not really interested in listing it. Frazie's did say that we could auction it, $3,500 up front. And we could see if someone would auction it that way. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at.
Pam, you want to take that one?
Mr. Blanchard called yesterday or the day before, and I spoke with him. He spoke with Kathy, requesting a letter that the city wasn't interested in the property. I feel like if the council's interested in it, it's in pretty bad shape. I would hate to see it demolished, but I'm thinking it may be to that point. I have not been inside the building, but if anyone's interested in taking a look at it, it's in the 400 block 407. Prior to making any decision, I would suggest that we do not take it. But if the council wishes me to write a letter that we're not interested in it, I'd be more than happy to. But we just ask that he come and speak with the council, so you could make the decision whether you were interested or not.
William, we've talked many times over the phone with a different hat on. So the reason the letter was requested from the city is because initially you wanted to surrender it to the county.
Correct.
The county will not even consider a property in Keokuk unless the city of Keokuk says they are uninterested in it.
Correct.
That is what the letter is for.
Exactly.
So on our end, if we aren't interested, that would be a way that he's able to go to the board of supervisors and say, I've offered it to the city first. They've said no, the chain of command in this facet. I do know that you bought the property before the vacant registry started. He's been very polite the whole time dealing with him. I would like to see at least a continuance if we want to see a letter given, if council is not interested in it. So he's at least given the opportunity to propose it to the Board of Supervisors.
My question is, when would it go on tax sale? It looks like taxes haven't been paid on it since September 2021.
We should be
Yeah,
coming
and
up.
that was actually by a different party than us. Someone else actually purchased the taxes and then didn't follow through. So
Okay,
we weren't even aware that we still had the property for a little while until we started getting letters again.
yeah, according to Beacon Schneider, you still have ownership. One of the things is that I was curious if there's any liens on the properties that you're aware of.
Outside of tax liens and
Yeah.
abatement liens, no.
Okay.
No, there's nothing owned against it.
I think I would take the recommendation of our community development specialist on how we want to move forward with this.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of writing a letter so you're at least given an option to offer it to the board if that's what you're wanting to do. There's a chance the county won't take it either. But at the very least, you bought the property before the vacant registry was established. And now that it is established, if you can't get insurance, the thought is that you have that much money in a bank account to say that you could demolish it. If you have that much money in the bank, you would fix the house so it could be insured. I mean, it's a catch
My
22.
son doesn't have $30,000.
But that's what I'm trying to say is that your only other option, if you don't have insurance, is saying, look, I have all this money. But if you had that money,
But
you'd
if we
probably put
don't
it in the
have
house.
$30,000, our other option is we just get fined.
That's why I'm trying to see if we can get at least maybe a continuance. If we give a letter, you'd be able to at least propose it to the board, if that's the avenue you're trying to take.
Can I have something for court on the 12th? Because we are going to court on the 12th.
That's the continuance I'm asking for.
I got you. I thought it was on the
No,
other
you're all
side.
right.
I've been up since 4:30 this morning
You're
working.
okay.
So that we would, could make a, we can't make any motions right now, can we?
No.
No, you can't make a motion, but
Exactly.
if there's a consensus of the council being that this is really just something the staff can handle, you can say,
That's what I thought.
write the letter.
Exactly. So then if we write a letter, what would we recommend? We write a letter that says that the city does not want the property at this point in time and that then he can go to the county and go through that process.
Yeah, again, we may end up at the same place, the board.
We may end up in the same
but
place,
At least
however.
giving you the option.
That's what I was saying. You're getting the option.
I'll take care of it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll move on. Item number 6, consent agenda. Minutes of the regular city council meeting and council workshop of August 17th, 2023. Minutes for the August 24th, 2023 safety committee meeting. Cigarette permit for Hometown Wine and Spirits, 1501 Main Street. Resolution approving a liquor license for Hometown Wine and Spirits, 1501 Main Street. Class E retail alcohol license effective pending fire inspection and occupancy permit. Resolution approving a liquor license for Dollar General number 2385, 300 Main Street, Class B retail alcohol license effective September 21st, 2023. Resolution approving a liquor license for the American Legion, Keokuk Post number 41, 727 Main Street, Class C retail alcohol license effective September 28th, 2023, pending dram and fire inspection. Resolution approving a liquor license for the Lake Cooper Foundation, 8 North Water Street, Special Class C retail alcohol license with outdoor service effective October 4th through the 9th, 2023, and special event permit Keokuk Cultural and Entertainment District, Main Street, Keokuk Incorporated for live music festival Friday, September 22nd, 2023, from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. at Kilbourne Park at 1900 Timea. I need a motion to pay bills and transfers listed in registrars number 5359 through 5361. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda, including the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passed. Old business, item number 7 is consider a resolution, we need to have a motion to remove item number 7, which is the personnel policy and handbook from the table. Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Any discussion?
Sorry. I'm curious if we address the definition of remote work and flex schedule. I know that we had talked about it when we were in our personnel meeting. I'm concerned that if we're having a flex schedule, that's different than remote work. So remote work would happen in the office hours between 8 and 5. And flex schedule is where people are able to work anytime during the day.
What we do is we do have a remote policy and it's not a flex schedule.
So then they're required to work between the office hours of the city hall.
Correct.
Between 8 and 5. Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion?
All of the department heads got supplementals, right? Just wondering. You got like a benefits book? Okay.
So this is a motion to take it off the table.
Yes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item number 7,
Now you need a motion to approve the resolution.
I need a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
So moved.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? New business, item number 8, motion to approve the third reading of an ordinance amendment to Title 9 Vehicle and Traffic, adding Chapter 9.91 Automated Traffic Enforcement. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion?
I had one phone call on this. The gentleman that called me, he was concerned about leaving the cameras on 24 hours a day. Didn't know that if we was going to put them in the schools, that maybe only during school hours is when they should be used.
I'm not sure I understand that because the speed limit doesn't change whether it's school hours or not. I mean, if you're speeding, you're speeding if it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 3 o'clock in the morning. And so I don't quite understand why he's concerned about the cameras personally, as far as time frame.
The other thought was the one near the high school would be monitoring during football games and extracurricular activities.
Anybody? I'll need a roll call.
Crenshaw,
Aye.
Walker,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Altman's,
Aye.
Andrews.
Aye.
Tillman,
Aye.
Bryant,
Aye.
Greenwald,
Aye.
Now I need a motion to adopt and give final approval of the ordinance.
Second.
Any discussion? And I need another roll call.
Walker,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Altman's,
Aye.
Andrews.
Aye.
Tillman,
Aye.
Bryant,
Aye.
Greenwald,
Aye.
Crenshaw.
Aye.
Motion approved. Item number 9, consider resolution approving allocation of hotel motel tax receipts to Man Country. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
So any more discussion?
I have received, I've been contacted by several citizens and that are opposed to this funding because they're of the opinion that it's going to a private entity because it's hosted on a one entity's property where they're the sole person who is selling alcohol and beverages. And that they're fearful that other bars then will continue to come and ask for similar requests to support events that they have at their locations.
Well, I was wondering, does this money roll over into the next year if it's not used, or is the money allocated at a certain date every year?
So those are monies that are just in the general fund. So any money that we do not allocate in the budget through the hotel motel tax is general funds. It goes into the general fund. So
But
it's
this
not any special
discretionary,
money.
Yeah,
I mean, we made a decision when we went through the budgeting process to say that we wanted to say, let's leave $10,000 aside. And if we do decide to give it to an organization related to the different kinds of things that we think would support tourism dollars, we just had that conversation. However, if we don't spend the money, it goes in the general fund and
I see.
that's where it goes.
It's going to, getting close to the end of the year, if we don't have any other requests to use this money, why not?
Actually, we are just at the start of our fiscal year.
Oh, okay.
We start July 1.
I don't, I know that it is only one, I guess, vendor at this. I would assume that the blocks around are going to benefit as well, especially for Malign. I don't know if you've ever been there, you just hop on down to the next one. But I also don't know what events other bars have that would be considered family friendly or free. You do? Do you have a?
If you come to the podium there and state your name.
Thank you. My name's Mick Long. My wife and I have owned Rascal's Pub and Grub and operated here in town almost 9 years now. Traditionally, as I know it, 31 years in management with Pepsi. As I know it, I've worked with these tourism boards several times in different events and through them. Tourism usually has a process of how this money's used. As a matter of fact, I was involved in an event 11 years ago that we've got some money from the tourism board from Quincy, Illinois. Um, Usually when they award money to events that we're talking about today, when they do this, that money is earmarked to be spent on advertising, not in the local vicinity. It's for advertising miles away to draw people in order to draw people into the motels and spend money in local businesses while they're here. That in turn replenishes that fund. There's usually always an ROI on an investment of any type from anybody. I don't know if you guys have one or not, but I don't know what you expect. If you give away $1,500, what your expectations on an ROI is there? How are you going to get that money back? Or is it just there for to give away as taxpayers' money? So that's a question that I would have. Along with several others, and I know I got 5 minutes, so the point being here, as far as I've read, this event is what, 3 or 4 weeks from now? Is that correct?
2 weeks?
Okay. We haven't even approved money yet, or you haven't approved any money yet. So if they want to advertise and bring money into this city via hotels, and that's what I believe they've told you, that they're going to bring people from outside here to stay in the hotels and to spend money in other businesses. To do that, that advertising spend would have had to already been made. They would have had to already spend that money and arrange for it, okay? Because if they haven't done that by now in Peoria, Davenport, Iowa City, to draw those people here for that event, that time has gone. It's gone, guys, okay? So knowing that, does the city have a process to measure how many motels are booked in relation to a certain event? Don't know the answer to that question. Is there an estimate of how many additional rooms this event's going to fill? Anybody know? I haven't heard that. Why would the city support one business's charitable event? If you guys vote to support this event, one charitable event through one business, you pretty well open the door for everybody. And I'm going to be standing in line, I can tell you that, because we have a charitable event, the Molly Hurley Memorial Foundation, that we have already in 2 years given away thousands of dollars in scholarships to people for hairdressing school, okay? Now that's as good as anything they throw at you. I'll be in line for that money, okay? Especially if you guys don't have any, you're just voting to say, hey, we got some money, let's spend it. That's not how this should roll, in my opinion. So lastly, this is the last thing I have, considering the ever-changing social climate that we all live in today, do you all think approving the spend of city tax funds to promote a rugged pro wrestling event is a decision that's going to resonate well with every citizen in Keokuk, the majority? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I do want to clarify that the day of the event is September 16th, so it is 9 days away.
I think that you made a lot of good points. However, we aren't holding that standard to anybody who's come here. The tourism board doesn't come and say, this is how many hotel rooms have been booked directly because of tourism. Like I said, I think that you've made great points, but we aren't holding anybody to that standard. And maybe we should, but currently we have not to who has been allocated. We've got a whole bunch of different groups where it's just been that group benefiting that have come forward. I mean, within this fiscal year, yes.
And I think coming forward with these requests for events shouldn't be discouraged either. I mean,
If they're the only one that came forward this year, as far as I know, this particular type of spend hasn't happened before in the town, at least not that I've heard about, okay? And then secondly, my other point is, as much so to all of you, if the city does not have anything in place to measure or to people to qualify or have any paperwork they gotta file or anything to get this money? That probably needs to happen.
This year, every group does have to come back and say what they've done with the money, where it's gone, how they spent it.
To get to that, I was gonna ask if you guys
Yep.
were asking me for, where'd you spend the money? And
Yep, at budget time, we did ask that every group that receives anything is going to come back. I believe Celeste sent letters to every single person who's gotten something, how it's going to be spent. And
where can one find the requirements for, if my wife and I, or not really my wife and I, we just posted it.
Mhm.
But the members, there's 3 or 4 ladies that are in charge of this Molly Hurley Memorial. Where can we find the requirements to what the hoops that we have to jump through to make this happen?
we could definitely put it on the website, and I think we should, but it's just, I'm not currently sure. I just look up the Iowa code when I'm referencing it, because that's what we're doing, is hotel motel tax follows an Iowa code. And we absolutely should. But it's not just to advertising. A lot of it's for cultural events. It can be, well, the state does. Yep, the state sets the parameters on how you can spend hotel motel tax. Advertisement is one of probably 50 different ways you can spend hotel motel tax. I
Wow.
don't know Illinois' rules, so the Quincy tourism, it may be different. Yep. I agree.
Now, I think it would be hard to gauge how many folks might come in from out of town to attend this particular event. I have been at places that have put on these wrestling events with some pretty good success. The last place that I worked at put on one, and a lot of folks did attend it. So that's, for that reason, I'm kind of in favor for it. And I'm guessing that the performers themselves will probably be the ones, you know, staying at the hotels more than anybody coming out of town to stay in a hotel, you know. But the wrestlers themselves, I'm sure, will need lodging for the night, you know.
Moving forward, we need to have people come up to the microphone and speak into the microphone so that the viewing public can hear what's going on.
We can't hear you. Do you mind coming up to the microphone?
Sorry, Mick.
Yes.
It's just the viewing public can't hear when we're not in the microphone. So.
Oh, that's fine.
But yeah,
So you're selling?
I'm sorry.
You're selling the event now?
Well, if it's somebody coming forward needing help to put on the event as opposed to not being able to do the event, you know, if it's a make or break kind of situation, I got to be leaning towards being in favor for it, just because this money is, you know, out there for people to help bring business to this town. So
Okay.
this might be kind of vague, but it's
Very vague.
they're, you know, it's not.
And again, we're not.
It's not unrealistic to think that it
It's
might
the
be a
city's
big
money.
success.
You guys
know.
are gonna vote on it, I assume. I don't know if anybody has any knowledge of Man Country. Does anybody know much about what's been going on with them the last few days?
With what? I'm sorry.
Man Country? Isn't that who this
Oh.
is about? What's going on with them?
If anyone's going to speak, they have to come up and speak in the
So,
microphone.
hey, guys, hey.
No, I
Hey.
was hearing that,
Okay, here's,
enough. You can tell the story. It's not for me to tell.
Corey, if you have something to say when he's done, would you please come forward?
A little bit shorter. I'm Corey, 7 South Oak Drive, and I can answer any questions. I don't know what he was referring to about Man Country in the last couple of days, but I'm super curious.
Not for me to spread rumors.
Super curious. Well, that's exactly what you just did. Anyways, so here's the thing about the hotel motel tax. I contacted Rosalind to see if he was in the guidelines of it, right? You said, yeah, as far as it goes, I'm in that, correct? Sure. So Larry and I sat down and we tried to figure out the math on how many people we've actually brought into this town through the hotel motel tax. Now, I'll say this, Man Country does not do the typical pancake breakfast or that kind of stuff, right? We don't do Eagle Days or Geode Fest. We do things that we think the public actually likes. Okay, so we do comedians, wrestling, etc. We've brought in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people into this town. Michael Winslow, who happens to be a movie star, called me today. I have it on voice message. That's not a rumor. I have it. He wants to do more with Keokuk. So that's not your typical thing, but it is different. But we do get exposure. If you check my Facebook, my Instagram, etc., I have dozens and dozens and dozens of celebrities that we've met through wrestling, etc., that wear Man Country shirt, Keokuk Pride, etc., who want to come back to this town. Now, you guys asked last time about the tourism board. I will say this. I've been contacted one time in 10 years from the tourism board. One time. And they wanted money from me. They wanted money from me. We did a fundraiser for the tourism board, and then we had to call them and ask them to pick up their check because no one showed up to their own fundraiser. That's facts. So yes, Man Country is leaving. Man Country, because I was going to run for mayor. I'm not anymore. I was going to run. I had some personal stuff come up, so I'm not going to. So I shut down Man Country because we were tired and exhausted and just sad that every time we try to do something, what we got was backlash. If we built a house, it was in the wrong neighborhood. If we raised money, it was for the wrong cause. If I said anything, I was held to a different level of anybody else because most of the people in town couldn't name another president of a nonprofit, but they can sure point me out in a crowd for whatever reason. So we asked for $1,500 when I know nonprofit after nonprofit has received money from the hotel motel tax, and we bring dozens and hundreds. He just had an event not that long ago, and every single person that showed up for his bands were staying at a hotel. We did a wrestling event not that long ago at the high school. They let us use it for free. Hundreds of people showed up and stayed in our hotels. Hundreds. We had 8 different wrestlers from around the world show up here. They were doing videos in the Keokuk High School locker room that has thousands upon thousands of hits from these wrestlers. And it might not be your thing, and I get it, but not everybody likes rocks either. And look how good GeoFest does. So that's what I'm talking about. And everyone sat up here and said, man, you just don't see this stuff coming. Go watch a wrestling event. Ottumwa, there's a group that I used to work with in Ottumwa. They took this idea from us in 2018. Is that right, Larry? They took it to Ottumwa. Bridge City Slam now is in its 6th year. 2,500 people show up and fill that auditorium every year now. That's a fact. It's the exact same thing I did with Man Country meeting at the high school. So could it be a tourism event? Maybe. Could it flop? Yeah, sure. But that's any event we do. I mean, we don't ask those numbers from the street fair, and we still do that. So that's all I got. Questions?
Is this event gonna go on regardless?
Yeah, absolutely. We just did it because I've never asked for money in 10 years. I know the totals of how much we've given away to the schools and to different individuals, et cetera, but I've never asked for money. And people finally said, hey, you should ask, because I'm getting kind of exhausted
Right,
from
and I don't
fundraising.
think that should be discouraged. I mean,
Yeah, but we're going to do it. Larry and I are going to do it one way or the other. We've been doing it on our own for quite a while now. So yeah, it doesn't, but yeah, that's why it kind of makes me upset, because a lot of people can say, well, did you hear this? Did you hear that? I'll answer any question anyone has for me.
This will still be under the Man Country umbrella,
This event will be under the Man Country umbrella.
and someone could come and tell us from Man Country, like all the other groups, how it went, what you spent the money on.
I will gladly come and tell anybody anything they need to know, for sure. I've got the printout of what it would cost to have this event, that they sent us not a super detailed that you're probably used to, but we have a detailed printout of the, what's the word, Larry? What am I looking for?
Contract?
Yeah, itemized whatever, right? So they sent that to us already, because the event's really going to cost $3,000, right?
I just want to make sure that we could say that you'd still follow what everyone else was expected.
Sure. Why wouldn't I?
And this $1,500 is going to go to Man Country to help you offset your expenses. It's not going to go to L Trains. It's going
No.
to go to you.
Correct. Well,
Man Country.
I mean, I don't, yeah, it's going to go
Not
to the
you-
event.
Not to you personally, but to
Correct.
Man Country. You guys have give thousands upon thousands of dollars to things around this community. things that maybe I wouldn't have gave to, or maybe I wouldn't have had the function you did, but you give it a good thing.
We've never
You've
said
helped
no.
out a lot. You've helped out a lot.
And it just happened Friday night when I was out with my kids. I was trying to take a night out. So I don't, maybe this is the last couple of days you're talking about. Somebody contacted me because their kid got brain cancer and they said, can you guys raise some money so we can get a lift for him? And we did it in under 12 hours. Man Country did that online in under 12 hours. And then we got reached out by another person, and the person now has their lift and they're getting their money. It took me under 12 hours to pull that off. And then the next night, someone said, the next day when I put up there, hey, I'm having some health issues, I really don't want to be doing anything right now. Someone contacted me and said, hey, our water cooler went out in our car. Can you help me out? And we did. So yeah, if that's the kind of things we're talking about the last couple of days, that's been my last couple of days.
It's been a long time ago, but I helped with just the financing part of a fishing tournament. And that was the first time we ever give money to a organization for a tournament like that. I don't think we've given any money to a fishing tournament since, but it helped people in Keokuk, and it helped get people in the hotel.
So he had some questions about advertising. Have you, how far did you advertise from Keokuk?
Well, this group comes from Marshalltown, Iowa. So that's about 3.5 hours away. They've already been advertising.
Okay.
They've been advertising because with wrestling, even with Larry and I's events, we probably get 30% of the people that show up to our events are from Keokuk. Let's just be honest. That's what happens. When we have comedians, Michael Winslow just came in here, Mick Foley, Jake, whoever we have, except for maybe Screech, most of our audiences are from out of town. They come in from out of town. So every wrestler was going to come in from these wrestlers advertise because part of their money comes from merchandise sales. So they're out there telling everybody they know too. So we're going to get Missouri, Illinois, et cetera, because they're already bannering those places up pretty hardcore. We wanted to wait because we were going to release, different. We've already been advertising. Larry, you've already been advertising, haven't you?
Yeah, I was trying to look at the numbers are into the investment when I advertised when I showed last weekend, we did
36,000 people. So a lot of times people just see what they see on Facebook and they don't realize the behind the scene when you're actually targeting certain demographics where you're going after. So again, I think this is a lot of hype for an event that may pull 150 people. You never know, right? But it could pull. We've had some that have hit 5. Mike was at one where we had probably 700 people in that back of our, in back of Larry's. It was during the street fair, of course, but hey, we'll take it. We'll use the number. But you never know. And like I said, wrestling's not for everybody. And after this conversation, I'm about done with it. But some people really enjoy it.
I will say that I've never been to a wrestling event before, and I don't know if it's my thing, but I do applaud you for trying something new, because anybody here will tell you that I'm sick and tired of the same old tourism events that our tourism department keeps giving us. So if we want to try wrestling, maybe we should try wrestling. I just want to try something new.
Right. And I would be more than happy to call it the Big Damn Wrestling Event. And I thought about this. I think everyone should have a big damn something. I think every event should be a big damn. I like it. Let's stick with the theme and everyone pick a month and every nonprofit get a month and you guys build off of that. And you have the big damn Easter egg. You have the big damn, I really do. And we'll call it that. Me and Larry have no problem being team players at all. And that's just kind of what I'm saying. Make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I was a manager at a restaurant that put on a wrestling event. It was actually attached to a hotel. The restaurant was attached to a hotel, and it had a really good turnout. And then the hotel, was pretty much booked solid. So I've seen how successful these things can be. My only request is just making it open to the public and having a lot of kids around. Just please be mindful that, people get aggressive at wrestling events and everything. So
We've already contacted them and said, we're going to have kids. Because we put up there, my kids are going to be there. My kid's going to sing the national anthem, for crying out loud. We don't do the light bulbs and barbed wire kind of. I would love to have that sometime too, but I went and asked the city to sponsor that, for crying out loud. You know what I mean? That would be a different thing, but.
Sure. And this was a paid event, but since your event is going to be free, I think it'll be successful. I wish it the best of luck myself.
Okay, anything else? Anybody?
What's the max capacity of the
Okay,
Capacity. Huh?
Can you please speak?
guys, you got to use the microphone. We can't hear you.
Can I sit down?
Yes, you may if you want to.
I just wanted to touch real quick on like what we were talking about when we did Man Country Mania. Like this, and this has nothing to do with the money we're asking for, but literally we've had organizations in Burlington contact us. They won't acknowledge it, but the Capitol Theater contacted us like, hey, how do we generate revenue? And we're like, let's partner up. And then we started bringing in national act comedians together. Then they stabbed us in the back. So we don't work with them no more. We've had organizations try to get us to work with them, and then basically deep pockets and out of town will screw you over. And it's just like this Central Empire Wrestling, we're talking about this Bridge City Slam they're doing. He's not exaggerating. The first time they ever did it was with us. It was called Man Country Mania. And there's literally a few thousand people showing up to this thing now. They took the model that was created by Man Country and L Trains, and they took it to Ottumwa. They didn't go to Keokuk with it because Keokuk was narrow-minded and couldn't see the vision. And I just hope that you guys understand there's a lot more than just one event. I mean, this is the first time we've ever asked for it. I mean, I don't know. We do so many kids fundraisers and events. I just wanted to speak on that. Don't get sidetracked.
But Man
And,
Country is ending at the end of this year, right?
Yeah.
So then this will be your last
I think this will
wrestling
probably be
thing?
I think this will probably be as a Man Country Wrestling. Now, I'm not saying.
I'm not dying. So we'll still do events. It just won't be under the Man Country nonprofit thing. That will be done. But if Larry needs my help to put on an event or a contact, I will still give it to him. So we could still in the future do something like this. It would be different. We would probably have to be self-funded.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because if you're not Man Country, we can't give the money to Man
Correct.
Country
No. And
in the
that's
future.
And that's what's kind of the thing was too. We wanted to do a free thing kind of on the way out the door, like
Sure.
boom, see you later.
Like I said last time, it's like a final last hurrah
Correct.
party.
That's kind of like why we didn't pay for the kids to go to sporting events this year, is because we knew we were coming to an end. We paid for, every kid to go to sporting events last year. We did that in 3 weeks, raised $9,000 to do it. So that's all I got. No questions. We've done a lot of good. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right. So we have a first and a second. So we need to finish up. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passed. Item number 10, consider resolution approving lease amendment with Roquette of America at the Southeast Iowa Development Center. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Roquette America recently rented office space on the second floor of the two-story addition at the Development Center. The amendment expands the space to the entire west side of that floor. The additional rent on that space is $1,000 a month or $2,000 per month starting October 1st. KEDC is paying for the necessary renovations for the additional space. I am proposing that the city allow KEDC to retain 100% of the rent until their costs are recouped. Currently, all rent is split 50-50. The split is done to allow KEDC to fund some of the renovations of space and allow the city to recoup some costs associated with tenants. Over the last 2 years, KEDC has spent several $1,000s to renovate space that has resulted in tenants. The lease amount calculates out to approximately $10 per square foot.
Do we have any more discussion?
Yeah, I've got a couple things I'd like to say, and I'm only bringing this up because I worked at the Southeast Iowa Development Center for a year, so I'm pretty familiar with the building. At one time, I was pretty familiar with the company that I work for with their costs of renting the facility, and I'll just say they're getting a cherry deal. And as that company has grown, which is a good thing, their energy uses, I'm sure, has gone way up because they're a very energy-intensive company. So as their company has grown, at this point, I can't really say if their rent has been consistent with their consumption. The whole building's consumption is that of a hospital because it needs to be heated and cooled and maintained year-round, whether or not any businesses are there. And due to some damages that the building that happened to the building while I was there working, if I hadn't been there, it would have been much, much worse. Since then, there's a maintenance man that's been employed there. And I would be surprised if, this rent even covers his pay. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see where the benefit is with the Southeast Iowa Development Center. And the name itself is kind of, it's a little bit false because I don't think the one business that's doing good there is really justifying the expense of the whole building. That's just.
So we own that building for another 15 years or 14 years, no matter what, due to our agreement with the Economic Development Authority and Department of, what was it? Economic Development Authority, the federal government. So no matter what, we have a responsibility for that building.
Sure.
So
It was a 20-year contract, so I believe it's another 14 years.
Probably 14.
14 years.
So with that being said, Mike, I got a couple questions. If they was to get 100% of the rent, which would be $2,000 now, how much time are we talking? I mean, we talking a few months, a couple years? And the other question I have is, do we still have expenses that we're going to be paying that we're not going to get any revenue from if we give them every bit of it? So if we still have expenses, which obviously we're going to be paying tax on it, we're probably the one paying the utilities on it. I would be more in favor of maybe a 75-25 to where we still need to get something out of it because we're still incurring a cost. I can agree with giving them a little more of the pie because they've put some into it. But if we're still spending money, I don't see justifiably how we can give them every bit of it. That's my opinion on it.
To clarify, the 100% would just be for this space and not for the entire building. So as other spaces are rented, those would still be on the split. And we do have several other prospects looking at space. I just propose that because the cost on this was what, Brian?
It's around $48,000.
Right, in order to get that space renovated.
So it's just this one rental agreement?
Correct, it's
Everything
just
else, we're still at 50/50.
it's just the one space.
Okay, because that's not explained in here as much. And that's what, when I saw that, I'm like, man, we're going to basically lose money on this really bad now. I mean, we're already losing money on it realistically. But that makes a lot more sense. Thank you.
It would just be for that space.
My concern is even if it's full, will we be making any money?
So there's a conversation that has to go on about that, and we do need to, KEDC is going to be working on projecting out what do we need to have for cash flow. So this year, I believe we budgeted no revenue. Did we budget any revenue in from rents or leases?
Can't be any. No, there was nothing.
So that's what I was going to say. So then this is the situation that KEDC is in right now, is that we're exactly having that same exact conversation. Is that how do we get to a point where our lease rates are able to cover the cost and cash flow of that building? Right now, so there's sort of two different kinds of tenants that we view it as, is the startup tenant. Freeze Dried USA is an example of that. Started with one person, now has around a dozen employees. That is the incubator side of that business model, where you provide a space that makes sense, but doesn't put it so onerous for that business not to be able to expand and reinvest. We just did our report and submitted that, I believe, to the federal government, Cole, on job creations and investment in that building. And that's public information, obviously. And then we also look at a tenant like Roquette, where they're an established business. We want to work with them on providing a space that makes sense in the market rate concept. Since Roquette is considering, and we're working with them on the move down to the second floor, what would benefit us is right now we have no space that is readily leasable. And so this build out would be a space, once Roquette moves down to the first floor, would be something that we could instantly lease out, which makes a huge difference on people's interest in the space. Because when you don't have a space that's built out, it's very hard for them to have any interest in coming in.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just worried that when we are full, are we going to make sure that we're making money? Not breaking even.
Yes. Well, I think you have to make money, and the aspect is that you have to look at what are our expenses, what are our, and that includes debt service, all those other kinds of things as well. So we have to make money, but we also have to cover our, hopefully, the investment that's gone in that space.
Someday, we're gonna have to start recouping our costs, or we're gonna have to cut our costs and let that thing go. It is just,
Well, ironically enough,
Money
we
after
need a
money
hospital
after
in this
money.
town, and we're paying for a hospital-sized building to maintain it, you know. No offense to the folks that are, you know, interested in our hospital as it is now. But
we give
Thing that we pay
KEDC
for, so-
money, and then on the other side, then we give them the full rent off of what they rent off that thing until they recoup their money. I don't know.
That the idea behind that is for them to be able to reinvest even further into the building, to further build outs that we're getting requests for.
Reinvest our money.
Well, reinvest the city's money into the city's building. You can't have a building and not put money into it and expect to have tenants.
We put a lot of money in it, and we haven't got much return. And KEDC's asking us not to get any return on this.
I guess my only question is, as we prepare, as we repair and get this space up, do we have a solid guarantee that Roquette will be renting it? Do we have that in writing?
We do not have anything in writing. We have a meeting on Tuesday, and that is where we are going to be working on the final lease agreement.
Okay. Anybody else? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
I think you need a roll call.
I need a roll call.
Garcia,
No.
Altmans,
I have a question. I guess this is do I need to abstain since I'm a board member of KEDC, or because I'm serving as a city-appointed official, I do not need to abstain?
You do not need to abstain.
Okay, thank you. Aye.
Andrews, Tillman,
No.
Bryant,
No.
Greenwald,
Aye.
Crenshaw,
Aye.
Walker,
No.
3 yes, 5 no.
So just to verify, since you guys voted not to lease the space to Roquette, we are now on the hook for over $30,000 of renovation that we're gonna get no lease money out of.
That's not to verify. I said no to the lease
Well,
amendment. I didn't say Roquette couldn't rent it. I just don't think that KEDC should get 100%.
Well, then that, I mean, it was a whole net vote
He
you
said
just
that
did.
he proposed it. So I didn't know that you weren't able to change your
Okay.
proposal.
So that is not part of the lease. That is a policy decision that I'm asking for. If you want to change the policy decision, please let me know.
But you just voted no on the lease.
But you just voted no on the lease.
Oh,
I'm not against renting it to Roquette. I'm against giving KEDC 100% of the rent.
Okay, so I'm asking for a directive on that, but I would suggest that someone on the winning side have a motion to reconsider, and you approve the lease, and then tell me what you want the split to be, if any.
So I have a motion to reconsider.
You're not on the winning side.
Oh, not on the winning side. Oh, sorry.
So I need someone who voted no to make the motion to reconsider.
I'll make a motion that we rent it to Roquette, but that we get the 25%
So-
of the rent.
So wait a minute here. Do you have a second to Rosalind's motion to reconsider?
Oh, excuse me.
Okay. So now we have a motion to reconsider, just ask for a voice vote.
Now we have a motion to reconsider. We need to ask for a roll call.
Explain what we're voting on now, please.
This is a motion to reconsider the motion, to reconsider the lease.
That we,
So this, what it is the resolution has already been defeated, but we're now motioning to reconsider it so we can vote on it again.
at the price of giving 100%.
That is, right now, the motion is to reconsider. Then we'll
Okay.
discuss the
This
the
is just to
particulars.
rent it to Roquette. Okay.
Yes.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed?
So direct staff on how you want to do the split. Right now, we're at 50-50. I'm proposing 100% of the new rented space go to KEDC, but if you want something different, please let me know.
Can I suggest that we table the conversation around the situation with KEDC and that KEDC can bring a proposal to the council at a future workshop?
That'll work.
No, we're talking about the split of the rent. So the lease is our job as a city council. So KEDC is going to talk about that and we'll bring a proposal forth to the council versus just have this on here so we can talk about it in a workshop that will have more projections and more detailed information for the council to be able to make that decision.
Is it possible to amend the motion to where we'd vote on renting to Roquette, but not discuss the split?
Okay,
And
so
discuss that I mean, right now, basically, we would vote on it as is at 50-50.
no.
And then at a future, we could discuss with the rent, but that way we can actually vote on renting it, if that's what this is about. Because what I read here is we were discussing whether to give half of it to KEDC. And that's the way I see this, and that's what I was voting on.
So
I'm in
I'm
favor
sorry.
of renting to Roquette, but I'm not in favor of giving KEDC 100% of the rent.
So Councilmember, I apologize for the confusion, but the resolution is only on the amendment. It's only on the amendment. What Councilmember Oltmans is proposing is that KEDC on Tuesday will work out information to bring back at a later meeting where we can then discuss the split. Well, September 21st, we can come back and quite honestly, we can discuss the split come October, because until there's a discussion on the split, the rent just accumulates and then we can decide how to split it.
If we don't vote on this at present, the split is 50-50.
No, the split has nothing to do with the amended lease.
Correct. I provided that information because that
Okay,
was the request.
we have a
of
lease
KEDC.
for $2,000 a month. Where is the money going to go?
Until the council meets with KEDC during a work session and decides how to split it, it's being held in an account until you decide how you want to split it.
Okay.
Is everybody on the council aware of why Roquette is needing extra space? Have you guys all been informed about what's going on? And why this is important? Okay. Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because having a lease with them is very important for their project that we're gonna be working on for the next 2 years. Oh, I didn't mean that nobody said that today, but we've talked about it before, just not doing it. So,
Even though we got the building from Roquette, and so they've alleviated their responsibilities to actually maintain the building and everything. I'm still for renting out the space to Roquette, even though they will probably be getting a cherry deal as well.
Okay, any more discussion? We have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
No, you have to have a motion to approve, correct. You have to have a motion to approve the resolution now.
So I would move to approve the resolution to amend the lease from $1,000 per month to $2,000 per month and cover the expanded square footage.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Item number 11, consider resolution setting public hearing to review a proposed subdivision, a portion of 365 Carbide Lane, formerly known as Carbide First Edition. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
The Planning Commission met on August 27th, 2023, to review the proposed subdivision and recommended approval to the City Council. During the notices that were sent out to the people within a certain distance from, which is 200 feet, from the required address, in that notice, we stated that there would be a public hearing with the City Council, although after looking into it further, one is really not required. But we're going to go ahead and hold one, just so if anyone in the public wants to be here, they will be here on that date. And I don't know if Cole has anything more to add regarding the subdivision of Carbide or
It's
not.
just if anybody has any questions.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes. Item number 12, consider resolution setting public hearing to consider vacation of 17 feet times 158 feet, 7 inches platted unapproved street in the Kisman Second Subdivision and an adjacent 20 feet by 158 feet, 7 inches platted unimproved public right-of-way located between Walty Lane and Lofton Drive. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion?
A public hearing is required for vacation of right-of-way. The Planning Commission reviewed and recommended approval of the vacation at their meeting on August 27th, 2023. Any questions?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 13, consider resolution proposing disposal and transfer of real estate interest of the city by sealed bid and authorizing public notice, setting October 5th, 2023 at 2 p.m. as the date and time for receipt of the bids on city-owned property located at 604 Grand, 517 South 7th, and 1108 Franklin. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Staff has received inquiries regarding purchase of vacant lots by 2 different individuals. Both parties would like to construct housing on the lots. Properties may be sold by receipt of bid and/or paying appraised value. The properties are 604 Grand. The city actually had disposed of this at one time. There was an agreement to construct a house on there. Within 2 years of that agreement, they did not follow through, so the city received the property back. 1108 Franklin is a vacant lot that a house was demolished. We've had that since 2016. And 517 South 7th, there was also a house on that, and we've had that property since 2016.
Can we have a similar agreement that there has to be progress made on a house a residential unit being constructed on those lots within 6 months, and that progress has to be reported to the city? Because if we wait another 2 years, it could
We
be very
sure-
disappointing again.
I think what we're going to do, Shelley, is we can have whatever agreement the council wishes to have. They will submit bids, and in that bid package, they will need to explain the process of what they're going to do in a timeline.
Okay, and then we can,
And then, yes,
when we transfer the property, we can have an agreement that states in 6 months' time, you need to make sure that you've shown this much progress,
Yes.
or a clawback will come into.
And that will be
Account.
recorded, yes.
Thank you.
Would that include maybe the type of house that they choose to put on the property? I'm only asking because of like the property on Grand. I want to make sure they're not going to put like a mobile home on Grand Avenue compared to the houses around it. Do you know what I mean?
I think
The-
every neighborhood should be treated.
Correct, and the
Fairly.
council can actually determine in the proposal, or we can put in the proposal. I know that a few of them were wanting to do tiny houses. A tiny house would not be something that you would put on Grand Avenue.
Okay, I
Um,
agree.
Yeah, so, but 517 South 7th is a partial lot, so you could not really construct on that otherwise.
Sure. I just wanted to make sure it would be appropriate.
We'll make sure that, like I said, it's, once we do the public hearing, send out the information, I'll have it to make sure it's more detailed for the council to review. If more than one person bids on those, you can just, the bid is one thing, but also, the bid amount's one thing, but also what they're gonna do with the property can be considered. So if they're gonna build a $300,000 house versus a $50,000 house, that can be considered into that bid amount.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Pam, you said 517 South 7th's not a full lot, so it can't be built on. What did you say about that?
517, I'm sorry, that's not a correct address. I think that's 5th. So can we amend that resolution?
It's South 5th,
It's South 5th. Yes, 517 South 5th.
which is,
It's
yeah.
on Timea where Dan is building where are the storage units? It's just a small lot right there in that area. I'm not sure where I came
It
up
would
with
be in
the,
between Des Moines and Palin, I think, 517.
yep, that would,
Right on the corner.
So then we need to make a motion.
whoops. Yes, could you please amend that?
I'll make a
for,
motion to amend the address to South 517 South 5th Street.
Thank you.
So is that a full lot or not?
I'm sorry?
It's not a full lot? So they
It's
couldn't-
not a full lot.
So they couldn't build on it?
They can build a house on it with approval from the Board of Adjustment.
So we have a first and a second on the amendment. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Need a motion and a second on the original resolution as amended.
Okay, so now we need a motion on the
Original amendment.
original amendment.
As- Actually, you've already made a motion on the amendment, so now you have to have a vote on the entire resolution as amended. I'm sorry.
Now we need a motion on the resolution. We had a first and a second before we had discussion. So now we need a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item number 15, consider resolution awarding a contract to Dan's Co. of Keokuk, Iowa for miscellaneous building. Oh, I missed 14, I'm sorry. Item number 14, consider resolution to set a public hearing to consider a permanent encroachment of a 10-foot by 24-foot stone wall with columns on the public sidewalk for Lucky's Pub and Grub, 528 Blondo Street. Do I have a motion to approve?
Moved.
This is a motion on the public hearing, so. You have a motion and a second.
Any discussion?
Lucky's Irish Pub, 528 Blondo, has requested a permanent encroachment to construct a 10-inch by 24-inch stone wall with columns constructed on the sidewalk. I've talked to Mr. Hall several times, and he plans change each time that he actually speaks to me. I don't think he's really quite sure what he wants to do. So I suggest maybe to go ahead and set the public hearing, but a lot more detail is going to need to be provided to the city council before you can actually really review it. They also need to apply for a sidewalk cafe, outdoors cafe sidewalk permit. In that documentation, you either have, there's a permanent fence or a temporary fence. And the actual permanent fence can be removed in the winter. And then where it sets into the sidewalk, there's something that needs to be, put in there so it's not a tripping hazard. My suggestion, and it's just me, is that I really don't think that a public sidewalk should have a wall constructed on it. I think that a fence would be more appropriate for a cafe, an outdoor cafe, but that's totally up to you guys. I'll just, hand it from here.
Is it going where the gravel is right now?
I'm sorry.
Is it going where the gravel is right now? I noticed there's some like sidewalk work going and I think there's just gravel left on the side of the street.
Well, I've talked to Brian a couple times about the area that is gravelled. You need a 5-foot pedestrian travel way. That doesn't appear to be 5 feet. I've never went over and measured it, but that's where I believe he would want to put the fence at. But I told Brian, I don't know how it's going to be poured, but at this point, it's
Slanted,
curved.
yep.
And if that's part of the 5 feet, there's not any way that a wheelchair is going to be able to navigate that with that curve. So like I said, we just need a lot more information than what he's actually provided to ensure that we know what he's up to in what they want to construct, and it's going to be done properly.
So I guess I would suggest, and all it is we're just voting to just set the hearing,
Set the
correct?
hearing.
But I would like to maybe set the hearing and then get with him, and we need some at-scale drawings so we can see exactly, I mean, it's not hard to draw at scale, but we need to know exactly how much room is there, and I'm with you on the fact that a fence would be better than a wall, but we need a little better, that the hand draw here is okay for starting, but it needs to be at scale. It needs to be where we can look at it. Okay, yeah, it's obvious we got 5 feet here, 5.5 feet. This is your plan year round. And I guess that's, like you said, that's another discussion. But maybe if we open it to a hearing and we get, the city may help us make a decision. There may be a lot of people that don't like this, and they'll come and talk it down and make it pretty obvious that they don't like this, and we won't even have to worry about it. It'll kind of take care of itself. So
I wonder if a fence is something that they'd have to replace often because of maybe the crowd some nights.
Yeah, it's possible. And they're doing a nice job over there, cleaning up,
I
painting.
think, I feel for them, that some nights a fence may not hold up.
Correct. You're correct. And I do want to say one thing as far as his measurements. I do know that in the guidelines for this sidewalk cafe, the fence has to be at least 3 foot. And I'm sure that's just for tripping hazards and that type of stuff. So, and it also is required to be engineered, any type of permanent, so I will let him know that prior to going ahead and publishing this to make sure that he's aware of all of the rules and regulations that he may not want to go to that expense.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Item number 15, consider resolution awarding a contract to Dansco of Keokuk, Iowa for miscellaneous building repairs. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
Any dis-
The miscellaneous repairs are from the Duratio storm. They include 501 Mississippi Drive, our old bridge department building, getting the roof replaced, the 3 buildings at the cemetery getting portions of their roofs replaced. The public pool building has missing fascia and soffit that will be replaced. And then this also includes the fence around the tennis courts at Tolmie. And this is an insurance reimbursed repairs.
I didn't see the bids in the packet. I might have just missed them. So how many bids did we get? And
We received 3 bids, and Dansko was the cumulative low bid on the project.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item number 16, motion to approve sewer credit to fill pool for Gary McCarty, 11 North Park Court.
second.
Gary McCarty, 11 North Oak Court, had to refill his pool on August 21st, 2023 due to broken water pipes on the pool. Mr. McCarty had to drain the pool while waiting for parts. Council approved sewer credits for pool filling during the months of May and June. Outside of the approved timeframe, adjustments for pool filling require approval of the city council.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item number 17, motion to approve fiscal year 2022 through 2023 annual URA report. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item number 18, boards and commissions.
There's actually not a final notification on there. They're all second notifications. So there's no action required tonight.
Item number 19, council liaison reports.
I just have that the Road of Honor is getting a lot of good support and feedback from legions across the state, so we're pretty excited about that.
The Keokuk Cultural and Entertainment District, we had the special event permit as part of the consent agenda. They're going to be doing a Kilbourne Band Fest, with the concept being to mimic the Back Alley Band Fest idea, but to put it in a different area of town and to utilize that park. So there's going to be 4 bands there that evening of different musical tastes scattered throughout the park. And there'll be some food trucks, and it'll be free to the public. So be hopefully a very nice Friday evening in Kilbourne Park.
Chief Mom, are you supplying any security for that event? I didn't see that listed on the papers.
They're not serving alcohol, so they're not required to have.
Oh.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Staff reports, item number 20.
Our new truck is in operation and it's capable of hauling twice the sludge that we had been hauling. That's working very well. Our anaerobic digester has been cleaned and is now being prepped to receive sludge. We need to secure the hatches and get one last mixer repaired, and then we'll be able to start filling it.
The Housing Committee and city staff met with MSA Professional Services last Friday for the kickoff event. I believe we had a very good meeting on that meeting. They've decided to do a pop-up event at the library. I'm going to have Carissa, what was that event, Chris, and what date was that?
It's September 28th, and it's a Good Neighbor Day that the pop-up event is going to tie into.
Yes. So I think that will be a great event. If any of you can come to that, that would be awesome. And then we've got a timeline, so the plan is due in like November, the end of November, I believe. So they'll be coming to the council prior to that to present that and get your approval on that. I did have a gentleman that's interested in 1901 Main. He would prefer that we do a commercial appraisal on that and pay that amount. So if the council's okay with me going ahead and getting an appraisal done on that, that actually would be that the gentleman would pay for the appraisal plus the actual appraisal cost. So we would get that reimbursed to us. Other than that, I have nothing else going on.
Out at our north landfill, we received a letter of noncompliance from the Iowa DNR. Their last inspection this summer, they found a leachate seep on the south side of the property that it's making its way into the creek. We did have a site meeting with our engineers and did a just a visual site evaluation. We have sent the DNR a written summary of our plans to address the issue, which includes a site survey and some engineering design. I have received costs to do this work. They came in too late to get it on this agenda. So I will be asking the council to approve that engineering work at the next meeting on the 21st. The cost of the survey and engineering would be $43,600. After that initial work is completed, then we would have to go out for construction bids to fix that issue. The plan right now is we would budget for the repairs in next year's budget after we get all the plans and everything completed by the engineer. The 3rd and Franklin Street hillside, I sent out RFPs to engineers and they are to be returned to the city by September 29th. Work on the stoplight at Walmart is ongoing. Looking to have it completed within the next week and a half. Riverfront Trail, we have cleared the SHPO and NEPA requirements finally. That being said, we did receive a letter from the executive officer from the IDNR. Victory Park received a land and water conservation funds grant in 1988. That type of grant is always attached to that park. So we were asked to provide a map and letter stating the improvements that will be made by adding the trail. And we had to demonstrate that the project will have a positive impact on the area and increase the recreational value of the park, which we are doing. That letter was drafted and it was sent to the DNR yesterday. I do believe this will be the last hoop we have to jump through before we can get this into the construction phase. 18th Street, the potholing for utility locations have been completed and sent off to the engineer. It's still in the design phase. We'll be looking to have a progress meeting probably the first week in October. I've been asked to address the issue of our porta potties in the parks. We did have to pull them earlier than normal. We have experienced way more vandalism to the porta potties this summer than from what I know that we have in the past. This cost the city money. It also cost our supply, the guys that supply our porta potties money to come down, pick them up, clean them. We have to pay for that every time they do it. It's just one of those issues where the actions of a few vandals affects the whole rest of the community. We are for next year going to hopefully look at some other solutions so we don't have to pull them from the parks, maybe getting them affixed to some permanent concrete pads with some locks or something like that. So that is in the works right now.
I just wanted to give an update on our fire truck. I don't know if you all knew the damage it sustained during the flash flood, but currently we're waiting on 2 more bids to come in, but the estimates are coming in very high. We're not sure. It might have to be replaced due to the cost of the total damage. The problem we're going to face obviously it's an insurance claim, but it's like a 3-year lead time to get a truck replaced. So we're going to have some conversations on what we want to try and do. I don't know if we want to look at a used one or what, but it's just, at this point, I still need to talk to the insurance company, but it doesn't look good. That's about all I have.
In reference to the porta potties, we have made 1 arrest in one of those vandalisms. And in reference to the local ordinances, we put that into effect today to begin writing our traffic citations under local ordinances when we can. That ensures a larger portion of the money stays in our community as opposed to going to the state general fund. In reference to the automated speed enforcement, we have received a copy of the contract that I sent to Mr. O'Donnell, which was sent back with some suggested language, and we have received that, and I've also sent that his way, so that's progressing as well.
Okay, we're moving on to item number 21. I need a motion to enter into closed session pursuant of Iowa Code 21.5I to evaluate the professional competency of an individual whose appointment, hiring, performance, or discharge is being considered when necessary to prevent needless and irreparable injury to the individual's reputation, and the individual requests a closed session. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? With that being said, we will be moving into closed session, and we will return just as soon as possible.
No, they don't. Thank you. What time are they? Oh, perfect. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Right, yeah. He went up there with this. I'll tell you what, that one time you ran very well. What's that schoolhouse out there? That's where Brian. I'm gonna let you say. I saw that. Good for you. The old apple. Yeah, you know. I do, I like all this space. And then we get one more table. We do, is that? That is, we did get it, what's this? We used to sit there. We need like another quarter. The problem is, they're just too short. Okay. I was switching that. Well, they cut it down to, 7. This is there. But we still want to do that. It's got power, I see. That's red. Doesn't it usually swivel to whoever's talking? Yeah, but I don't like that. So it's in the server. I don't know. Somebody here.
Okay, to everybody back? All right, I need a motion to enter back into regular session.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item number 22 is new business. Any new business, anybody? Item number 23, I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting's adjourned.
I didn't get your text till we went up there. I just jumped on and checked and it was working just now. Well, worst case scenario.